everyone. So when the Lakers signed Cam Reddish, many of us were super stoked that the Lakers acquired him. Young, athletic, 6'8", 7'2" wingspan, can be a three-level scorer. He's a bit of a inconsistent three-point shooter. He's not like terrible, and he can catch heat at times, but he's not somebody that you want taking high-volume three-point attempts. But he's a guy that can absolutely put the ball on the court, get to the basket, use his size and his wingspan to finish through contact over the defender, as well as stop, pop, pull up for a mid-range shot. Like, he's a guy that many saw as a very valuable asset for the Lakers. And there was a lot of hype going into him. And then we got the first preseason game against the Golden State Warriors, and he laid a big old dud. Now, defensively, he was great. And he's somebody that should be very good defensively, again, with his wingspan, with his athleticism, with his lateral quickness, and just his ability to switch essentially 1 through 4. I think he's a guy that can make a really impact for the Lakers this year. But offensively, he was terrible. And it wasn't even just that he was bad offensively. It was that he was bad offensively, but just like, it was like he couldn't even dribble. It was like he couldn't get by defenders that he should have been just exploding by, right? He just seemed like, the Monstars took his powers, right? Like, it was out of sorts. And then, unfortunately, to add, insult to injury, he ends up rolling his ankle, and he didn't play the last few games until the Milwaukee Bucks game. And we got to see a Cam Reddish that played in 21 minutes, gave us 10 points, 5 rebounds, hit a couple three-point shots, right? Had a steal, and was once again very good defensively. And now everyone's back on the Cam Reddish bandwagon, right? Everyone is super happy, super excited, and pumped to see Cam Reddish once again on the Lakers. And look, it's one of those things where, I understand the pendulum swing. I understand people tend to overreact, especially even to a preseason game. But it's why I was saying, we got to be patient with him, right? He's young, he's excited, he's trying to do too much, right? He's trying to prove and show that I could be this guy. I've been on, 3 teams since I've been drafted. I was a top 10 pick. I can be a good player. And he's a guy that I genuinely hope is a Laker for the long haul. He's a guy that I genuinely hope, I would love to see him retire a Laker. Right, whether he's starting, coming off the bench, being a key piece, one way or another, I think Cam Reddish is going to be an excellent player. I think he just needs the opportunity and the right place and environment. And I really do believe the Lakers is that right place and environment. And I do believe the Lakers are going to give him a somewhat of an opportunity. Right, I could see him getting more the longer he stays. But I do think this year there is a real argument for him to play. Now, obviously, the backup 2 guard is something of question, right? It seems to be kind of him and Max Christie battling it out and duking it out. Now, I wouldn't be surprised at all if what we see is essentially them kind of splitting minutes here and there, or maybe kind of matching up depending, right? So say it's, a bigger team or something like that, or a bigger, or one guy in particular is just killing us, and it's like, okay, well, we could use Cam Reddish's length and size to kind of just bully him a little more, right? Maybe varies by matchup. It could also just be like, let's say Cam Reddish enters the game and he's just got the hot hand and he's just lighting it up and he's doing X, Y, and Z. Well, then maybe that is something that it's like, okay, well, let's stick with him, and then Max, we'll give you a shot on the next one. I could see a little bit of a back and forth between those two. But regardless, I do think Cam Reddish is a guy that when he is given minutes, however many minutes that is, whether it's 10 minutes one night, 20 minutes another night, 30 minutes another, I do believe he's a guy that can absolutely leave a mark on the Lakers roster in the season. I really like what we're seeing with Darvin Ham as far as these versatile kind of positionless, sizable lineups. And I'd really like to see that continue. Genuinely. I think that if you kept, these units of, D'Lo, Prince, Cam Reddish, Rui, and Andreas, then I think like you have now essentially outside of like say a D'Lo, a unit that could defend and just constantly switch, right? I mean, Cam Reddish again, he can defend basically 1 through 4, and he could even if he got just switched on a 5, depending on who that 5 is, I think he could hold his own a bit, right? Talked about how he gained some weight. He gained around 13 pounds, I believe he said, and so that puts him around like 230, right? And so you're looking at a guy that's 6'8", 230, 7'2" wingspan that has shown the explosiveness and has shown the athleticism and showed in this past game that he's able to stick with the best of them. I mean, he was doing a great job defending Damian Lillard in spots. He showed that he could get to the rim and finish through size, finish over the top of guys. Right? He had a couple that usually would fall for him that just didn't fall. And I just think it's him. He's got to get the confidence, right? It's about him, one, believing in himself, and then the team believing in him. And that's what I love about Darvin Ham. I really do believe Darvin Ham is going to instill that confidence in him and instill that belief in him that, like, hey, we brought you here because we believe in you. We brought you here because we like you. This isn't the Knicks situation where you were traded to a Knicks team and the coach had nothing, didn't want anything to do with you, didn't want you, nothing, right? Because you got to think of Cam Reddish and just kind of the history since he's been in the NBA. Drafted by Atlanta, he was supposed to be a real cornerstone for that franchise, a real important piece, somebody that was supposed to be a building block and potentially a star for them at some point. Ends up getting traded to the Knicks even after Tibbs says he doesn't want him. And then Tibbs just kind of had him in the doghouse from the moment he went to the Knicks, and it just was like he's trying to fight through that. And then the Lakers tried to trade for him like 3 times, and 2 of the times it almost went through. It was like one of the times it was done. Paperwork is getting ready to be filed, and then the Knicks got a little greedy. And so it's like he knows that the Lakers want him. He knows that the Lakers value him because they tried to trade for him twice, that almost went through. And it's not like he doesn't know about that. Not like he's not familiar with that, right? Because his agent probably talked and relayed that information to him, or you heard the headlines in the news later. And even if it's just a rumor, when 3 years in a row, the rumor is like the Lakers are trying to trade for Cam Reddish. I mean, at least one of those times has to be accurate, right? And so you end up seeing him get traded to the Blazers, and then he goes from the Blazers to finally a free agent signing with the Lakers. And it's like you knew he was going to the Lakers because the Lakers were the one team out of anybody that you saw a constant effort to try to go and acquire him. So he's in a place now where he can have the confidence and he can build. And Darvin Ham isn't just going to, send him to the doghouse because of one bad game or one bad moment or whatever. He's going to give him the opportunity. Even if Cam Reddish does fall out of the rotation, Darvin Ham's going to give him the opportunity to continue to work hard and fight to get back in. Right? Look at Rui Hachimura. Comes to the Lakers, was pretty rough when he first started with us. Ends up falling out of the rotation, works hard, works with Phil Handy, and Darvin Ham noticed, saw that, gave him a chance. He picks it up in the back end, and then boom, he was a huge factor for us come playoff time, and one of the big reasons we were in the Western Conference Finals, right? So Cam Reddish can trust and know that, like, hey, I'm going to have opportunities here. Guys are going to miss time. You're on a very deep, versatile roster, right? He's going to be able to play, and that's what makes him so special is that he's going to be able to play multiple positions. Right? If we have, 2 forwards out, guess what? He can step in and easily play that. If we have, one of our guards out, he could slide over and play the 2. He could play the 4. He could play the 3. That gives the Lakers many options for him, and that gives him and amplifies the amount of opportunity he's going to have in the rotation to play, in spots, right? Like even Max Christie, who I am super high on as well, right? Like, you're not putting Max Christie at the 4. And if you are, then that means something terrible happened, right? You can put him at the 2, you can put him at the 3, can't put him at the 4. Well, you can put Cam Reddish at the 4 because he's, again, 6'8", 230, 7'2" wingspan, 7'1" wingspan, whatever it is, right? Like, that kind of gives him a little bit of an edge, puts him over the top a little bit. He's just got to show that he can play and play with confidence and not try to do too much. Take a breath, take a step back, right? To me, that's how I perceived that first game. He was a kid that's out there with something to prove, that was trying to prove it rather than just letting the game come to him and taking what the defense gives you and just playing it the right way and just let the cards drop where they may, right? And I felt he did a better job of that today. And again, this is only his second preseason game, right? So let's give him an opportunity and then into the regular season, and that'd be great. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Were you much more impressed with Cam Reddish this outing than you were in the first one? Do you still have your questions about him? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below.